All right, we are live on the Las Vegas Triathlon Club Facebook page. We are recording. I'm John Mercer, president of Las Vegas Tri Club. I've got Bob Gamble, ambassador. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Board member.
Operations.
Board
Thank you.
member of Las Vegas
I got a
Tri Club.
promotion from the president.
That's right. That's right. You've been promoted from ambassador. You've advanced from ambassador. And now you are a board member of the Tri Club. So thanks for joining tonight, Bob. How's it going?
Good, good. Thank you.
And I can't wait to start this conversation. We've actually been talking for at least 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Hilary. And Hilary has such a neat background in triathlon, and it's going to be a lot of fun to let people get to know you a little bit more and some of the experience you have and I can't wait to tap into some of that experience too, because you've done Coeur d'Alene and we've got that on the schedule, and that'll be fun to chat with you about that. So, got Hilary Mauch as our member spotlight, and I'm gonna hey Hilary, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us.
It's going to be fun.
I'm actually going to turn it over to Bob for the official introduction. All right, Bob, take it away.
As John said, we've got Hilary Mauch with us, and I'm really looking forward to this because I did not know how accomplished of a triathlete Hilary is. And before we even get started, Hilary, I want you to tilt your camera up and show us that wall behind you, would you? Those are the medals.
Oh,
Those are the
goodness.
Ironman and 70.3 completion plaques. Hilary has done 7 half Ironman, 5 full Ironman, and a boatload of 7 Olympic and sprints sprinkled in there. So she's quite an accomplished triathlete. She's had a sub 13:30 full Ironman. So she's doesn't finish them. She races these things. So and on top of that, I just want to thank Hilary. Hilary is a registered nurse.
Yep.
And I know she's been working her rear end off for the last because of COVID. So we appreciate what you're doing and being in the Tri Club. You joined the Tri Club in 2018, right? And
Yes.
what was really funny, tell us why did you join the Tri Club?
Oh no, don't go there.
Well, John came on, and Hilary was getting heavily into triathlon, so she came over in 2018. Your first triathlon was in 2012.
Yes. Yeah. Just kind of got the little bit of the bug a little bit, and it really started with my husband and I were watching Kona on television. It was November, and they were showing that year's race, and we were Biggest Loser fans. So it was the year where Tara Costa raced, and that was our favorite Biggest Loser. And I was like, you know what? And she said how much she weighed, and that's how much I had weighed. I'm sitting there on the couch, and that's how much I weighed. And I'm like, wait a second.
Wow.
If she can do it, I can do it. Because you do have that thing like, oh,
I could never do that.
Yeah. And so then it was like, okay, we'll do it one step at a time. Don't just which you can. I look back on it and say, you know what, I could have just signed up for the full, but I'm glad that I did it one step at a time. Mm-hmm. And I, did a sprint, and then I moved to an Olympic, and then I moved to Silverman. So yeah, why not? Let's just, your first 70.3, just all hills. Let's just do it.
One of the hardest course. Well, what was your first race? Do you remember the first one you did?
I do. I remember. So it was Las Vegas the Las Vegas Triathlon, and out at Boulder Beach, and started out and got in the water, and the whole time I'd been training in the pool, and I've done open water. I lived in Southern California. I'm used to that cold Pacific Ocean. And I got into the water, and the first thing I saw was all that grass, and I started immediately thinking of Jaws, and I popped out of the water going, oh my God, I quit. And there was the first buoy that I was supposed to turn around. And I was like, oh man, all right, fine. Let me just I'll just keep going.
I'll finish. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, that's interesting that you had that experience with the ocean because you grew up in Southern California.
Open
So,
water is a little bit different than the pool, then, isn't it? It's like, this is also, you got to keep in mind that there's some people who are rookies and newbies here, and they're actually thinking about the open water. So comparing the pool to open water will help them.
Yeah, so one thing I will have to say, if you're used to ocean swimming, especially the Pacific, you can't see the bottom.
mm,
So to me, that was perfectly fine.
mhm.
And but then when you get into Lake Mead, Lake Tahoe, even Ironman Florida, you see the bottom the whole entire, even Coeur d'Alene, you see the bottom the whole entire time. But one thing to really practice as you're transitioning from pool to open water
Mhm.
is really, practice sighting, and especially if you're at the gym is the perfect place because, okay, I'm going to focus on that clock over there, and then I'm going to focus on the flags over here. So you can constantly change where your sight, when you pop out of the water, where to sight to.
Mhm.
Another thing that I would always suggest is get a bunch of friends with you and swim as close to you as possible. Because it's not only just because of that whole mass start, which we don't really have anymore, but
People are still slapping you on the feet and smacking you in the back of the head.
that, and not only that, but how are you going to control yourself with that anxiety? And it's in a controlled area. The pool is, you're in a controlled area. You might be able to stand up if you have to. You're with your friends who are right there to say you're okay. How are you going to push through that? Are you going to swim faster to get away from your friends? Are you going to bump them off, or then even feel the commotion of all that water coming at you too, because now you've got a lot of people around you causing more friction, and that's kind of open water, is that unbalance that kind of freaks us out a little bit.
I love
You have to expect it. Sometimes when you're taking a breath of air, it's not air.
Right. And have or if you have a friend that has a pool, and just a regular pool, not at the gym, that can splash around you while you're, just make it uneven waters. And how are you going to get through that?
That is so great, and I love it because you are clearly, and I know your resume, you're clearly experienced, but that was your first race, and so I love hearing from experienced athletes about their first race. So knowing that the swim was a challenge now, and you hit that first buoy, you're getting out of the water. What was going through do you remember what was going through your mind at that point?
Go. It's the same two-letter word when I get out of any water, out of any race.
Uh-huh.
Go.
I love it. That's great. All right, so you jump on your bike. You're down at Lake Mead, and that's not flat. That's not easy.
No,
What kind of bike were you
climbing for 3/4 of a mile.
Well, I didn't know it at the time, but I had a road bike that had 3 in the front. So I could really switch a lot of, 3 in the front, because I could really switch, and that hill was, tough. I could go into the lowest gear. The only issue was when I did that race, my inexperience, I didn't know how to switch my gears.
Oh no.
So I really went through that race in pretty much the same gear the whole time, which probably was about in the middle. And I rode my bike like you would in, a kid with no gears.
Oh.
Wait, you didn't change gears? You didn't change gears at all?
Nope.
Oh my goodness. What gear were you in?
I think I was in the second in the front, and then I think I was kind of like halfway in the back. I'm not very bike savvy. I ride it, and that's just about it. I know how to change a flat.
Yeah.
And I know how to crash a bike, but other than that, that's about it.
All right. So you had, baptism by fire in the water, and you survive that. Now you're on the bike and you survive not being able to switch
Shift gears in the hilliest course in the area.
Exactly. All right. So now you get off the bike, and did the run go well?
I would say yes, the run did go well because I had been doing some marathon training prior to that. So I had done a couple half marathons and a couple full marathons by that time.
Yeah.
So I was doing the Jeff Galloway run walk. So for me, it was okay. I just keep looking at my watch every couple of minutes. Oh, it's walk time. Oh, it's run time. So
and that is so smart to do that. I mean, because that's, you know, you can actually, a lot of people can run walk at a faster pace than they run continuously. So it's like it allows you to rejuvenate.
Right. Yeah, it's truly amazing. And then I got to the point of doing a 12-minute mile to I was doing a 10-minute mile. So literally on every 5, I was doing a run for 4, walk 1. So at every 5 minutes, I was at a half a mile.
Wow.
So then by 10 minutes, it was 1 mile. So then I started getting to the point of, okay, let's go. I'm almost at 2 because it was almost 20 minutes. And then you get so stuck on that, it's hard to progress because you're so stuck on the math of 20, 30, 4, 5, 6.
That's great. That's so smart to going in and doing that. And so it's good that you had that run experience. So you hit that finish line.
Wow. Wow. An experience because one, I was never really a person that I'd always start something, but never really, finished it. And that was a big experience when I finished my first half marathon. And then it's like I did it all over again, did another half, and it's still a awesome feeling. You guys had mentioned I've done so many races, but each race is very unique, and the training is different, the racing is different. So when you get to that finish line, it's a huge accomplishment every time.
That's great. I love it. And that first race is always so special. And that's neat that you had some challenges to overcome. But that shows the kind of person you are. And I'm not surprised, given that you overcame those challenges, that you were drawn towards the longer races. So how soon after your first race did you decide to go for either a full or a half?
Oh, the full was always in my mind, and it was always Coeur d'Alene.
Okay.
So my uncle had done an Ironman years ago, and he had done Maryland. And so I had always heard about Ironman, and I knew, I don't know if it's true or not, but the rumor was as soon as you finished an Ironman, you walked off the finish line and then walked into a tattoo booth and got the famous Ironman tattoo. So that was a goal of mine as well. And so I was going to do Coeur d'Alene, and I was going to get that tattoo, and it just was something I had to do, but I had to finish a 70.3. So I did Silverman, not knowing anything about the course. And yes, I did know how to change gears by then.
Yeah, it's a good thing for that course too.
Silverman without changing gears, boy, that would have been fun. But all right, so you did Silverman 70.3, which is awesome, and then you did Coeur d'Alene.
No, then did St. George. Okay. I had friends that highly recommended for me to do St. George. So I said, okay, I will. And at the time I was training with Jackie Arcana. And so she said, I think that'll be a great precursor to Coeur d'Alene. And my friend Chris, he actually has a route here in town that pretty much mimics the St. George 70.3 course. Good. And we did it. And I remember we did here in town. I cried as soon as I got out at the top out of Red Rock, out of the canyon, inside the park. because I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do this again. But then I get done doing St. George and I was like, oh, that was awesome.
Wow.
I was just going to say your favorite, think about your races. The first one you run, North Shore Drive or, Lake Shore Drive. And then you go to Silverman, which was, hilly. And now you're doing St. George. It's like, you must love hills.
I do. It's kind of my buddy Chris, he'll do the flats all day long, but me, I'd rather take a hilly course. So I had my heart set to do Ironman Wisconsin, but I heard they took the hill out. Then I wanted to do Whistler, but then they took the race out, which took the hill out. And so now I got Lake Placid on my mind. So
have you ever done a flat race? Have you ever done a flat race?
I did Florida.
Okay, what'd you think of it? How was that fun?
Florida was a different race for me. I had just got done working 1 October and was in the middle of training when that happened. And then for Ironman Florida was kind of a outlook for me. So that whole time was allowing me to heal and reflect on everything that had happened and, to just continue moving forward. And I'm very thankful, but the flats, they got old after a while. I miss the hills because, it throws a little bit of a, creative spin into the race.
Not as fast though. You're not as fast in those hills.
I feel like I'm faster in the hills.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Well, it's funny you say that because people will say, well, Florida, it's easy. There's no easy. And being an aero or in that same position for that length of time is hard, especially when you're training around here, because we don't have flat around here. So you don't get that opportunity to really practice that position for that period of time. So
right, because the difference between Florida and Arizona, Arizona is a false flat.
Yeah.
So we have that here. You ride out to Creech or you ride out to Jean. It's a nice, easy false flat with a turnaround with ease. Florida, it's a constant flat, so you're just spinning the whole time and trying to keep yourself relaxed and.
Well, I'm going to hear
such a good perspective. I'm glad you brought that up.
I want to hear more. Oh, sorry, Bob.
No, go ahead.
I want to hear more about Coeur d'Alene as your first one, because I know we talked before and I know what year it was, and boy, that was a brutal day.
So depending on probably what part of the city you were in, so it was June 2015, and we actually had a warm winter that year. I remember February, I had already had a sunburn from training. So we were already in 100-degree weather and we're driving out and it's expected to be 106.
Oh.
And if you talk to other people, they said it got up to 112 that day.
Oh.
So I don't know if they put like the thermometer right next to the asphalt, but I'm sure it felt like that. But I felt like I was pretty acclimated coming from Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was the water felt great and got out of the water, and the volunteer was so nice. I had nylons with me and she pulled it out and looked at me and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pack it with ice. And she's like, and all of a sudden she was gone and came back with ice in the nylons.
That's a great idea too. I mean, that's brilliant.
And then did the bike course, and it's got a good hill that you go up it, down, then you turn around, go back up where you just came down, and then you go and do it all over again. It's great. Yeah. But I should find it and post it. There's a picture, the one run picture that they got of me is my brother-in-law says, it looks like you lost your puppy. Oh. I'm like walking, I've got this contraption on my head full of ice, and I'm just like I look like I lost a puppy. Oh. And I'm like, really? That's what you got of me? Like, you didn't get me like running?
Yeah.
Well, that was such a hot day. I don't remember the stats on how many people did not finish that day, but that is what a testament to your toughness as an athlete to get through that day and hit that finish line. That's and on your first race too, first full.
I didn't know what I was doing except for finish a race. So,
All right, so can you name all the fulls that you've done?
Yep. So Coeur d'Alene, Santa Rosa, Florida, then did Arizona, and then Boulder.
Wow, that's really a fantastic resume. I mean,
You
that
know,
is really.
tell me what makes, I noticed that your favorite race is IM 70.3 St. George. What makes that your favorite?
I have a love-hate relationship with that race. And I think pretty much anybody who does that race has a love-hate relationship. The love part is the city. Everybody there is very welcoming to you. You hear how different cities, they like Ironman, they don't like Ironman, but St. George absolutely absorbs
Mhm.
Ironman. And one year we had some bike trouble on the way up. Went to one of the bike shop. Oh, they went ahead and just fixed it, and we were like, okay, well, what do we owe you? No, you got to race, so we want to make sure you can race tomorrow. So then we like made up and like, oh, we need nutrients and we need a new pair of gloves because we just,
Good for you.
we felt like we needed to, pay it forward. And then I think also the way I got introduced was through my friends. So it's always been a race where it's kind of memorable in a family, so to speak. But the hate part is Snow Canyon.
Oh yeah.
So, and the swim is kind of weird too, because you swim out and then you go around the rock, and as you're coming back towards the swim out, it almost gets kind of like a toilet bowl.
Yeah.
And like the water just starts getting choppy, and there's only been a couple times where I've actually gotten seasick during a swim, and it's St. George and Florida.
Oh wow, interesting. Yeah, that Sand Hollow area can really get windy, but yeah, Snow Canyon is it's beautiful, but that is a climb too.
And I always get to the part where I'm about a half mile from the exit, but you
I
can't see the exit.
I know where you mean. Yeah.
And I pull off and shake my legs out and go, oh my goodness. And then I get back on the bike and I'm like, okay, I'm nice and you mean to tell me if I had just kept going that I would have been done with this canyon?
Yeah. That's great. I love it. Yeah, I know that spot because that hill just keeps coming and coming. You're not done until you're going downhill. So that's awesome. All right, so what a fantastic resume. Favorite iron distance race?
Would be Santa Rosa.
Really interesting. And what do you like about Santa Rosa? What did you like about it?
So it was beautiful. The swim was great. I really enjoyed the swim. Even though there was a lot of turns, it still felt like it went pretty smoothly. And again, Vegas, was helpful with training because you swam at Boulder Beach. And what I would do is I'd park my car at the restrooms, because for Santa Rosa was a quarter-mile run up to where transition was.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So I would do my swim and just run up to the bathrooms, and then I would unload everything out of the car, my bike and all of that stuff. And then
that's brilliant.
That's a smart idea.
Yeah, I try to, whenever I train, I really do try to mimic the course as much as possible. But it was so beautiful going, and I think because I had done so many desert races by that time, that it was just nice going through all the vineyards. And it was a different type of scenery. It was, in a way, something to look at kind of deal, because you can see so many mountains or so many trees, but oh, look at this vineyard. And now, oh, look at the rock formation for this vineyard. And it just kind of changed. The only downfall was the bike course, because you were out in the backlands. There were a lot of bumpy roads,
Yeah.
so you could get a little whiplash
Yeah.
on some of the areas. But the run was great. You ran along the creek, so that was awesome. The other thing that was kind of surprising, the city was very welcoming
Yeah.
for Santa Rosa, but then, going on to the Ironman Santa Rosa site, there were some people that were like, we're done, we're okay. And but it was like, really, because even I went to one of the local bars because it was recommended by my friend Judy, and great burgers. Oh, absolutely great burgers. And we got to meet the owner. The owner bought me a drink to celebrate. I mean, it was just like we had always been there.
Yeah.
It's like your family, or he's like, hey, come on in. Thank you for racing in our town.
Yeah, it felt a lot like racing at St. George, really. So, and that's, what I look for when one of the things I look for with racing, because it helps with your nerves. You're already nervous. You're in a city that you're not very familiar with. And if you've got your family with you, are they going to be okay going through this very long day of watching just you on the run, really? Because when you're out on the bike, they see you one time and then that's it.
Triathlon's not a spectator sport.
No, no, unless you know all the pros. When I did Coeur d'Alene, I had treated my family to the VIP tent.
Oh, nice.
They're having lunch, and another guy comes down and sits, and he's talking to one of the kids. He's like, oh, is someone racing? Oh, my dad is. Oh, really? Yeah. What's your dad's name? Andy. His dad was Andy Potts.
Cool.
Well, that I love to hear how much you enjoyed the experience, and before the race, after the race. That's so neat. I love it. So, but I want to hear your 2021 plans.
So 2021, Oceanside.
Yeah, that's fingers crossed. Let's.
Coeur d'Alene, and then Arizona.
I love it. Now you said Lake Placid too, though. Somewhere. When?
I'm
Placid on your radar?
I'm hoping 2022, if not 23, Lake Placid.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's some ambitious stuff. So that's.
You're gonna do any of our club races or the BBC races?
I hope so. I hope that it goes forward for for all of the races. I've never done Rage. I've never done Kokopelli, so I've always been curious to do those races. And
Kokopelli, you'd like Kokopelli. It's got a nice hill on it. It's got, how long is that? That's a good, and it's a relatively steep 3/4 mile hill.
Oh, wow.
So you'd like it.
Yeah.
That's my type of race.
Yeah, I love going to the racing in St. George. All right, so you started off with a sprint race, and you've gravitated towards these endurance races, and you clearly enjoy, the training and the journey and the experience. But can you talk about any lesson? Well, what keeps you going? I mean, what? I mean, your race resume is so impressive. I mean, what is it that's driving you for that next one?
Well, when you're this far in, it's I want to get to Kona.
Awesome.
Oh, good deal.
I had a feeling that was going to come up. That's awesome. I love it.
And I know I'll never qualify, which is perfectly fine. But when I show up on the starting line and I'm waiting to enter swim, don't think it's on my head on how am I going to beat everybody.
So you're shooting for Legacy.
Yes.
And the Legacy is a great pathway, and it's not an easy pathway. Tell everyone what the Legacy program is.
So the legacy program is was started by the founders from Ironman. They wanted it to be allowed that people still, average Joes like any one of us, could still have this beautiful opportunity to race Kona. So after you complete 12 full distance Ironmans, you're entered into the legacy where you're allowed to do, your name is put in for a lottery. But then once you, but you still should continue racing because it gives you more chances of putting your name in. And then once you get that golden ticket, you either have to do a 70.3 or a full that year before Kona.
Yep. That's amazing, and that's a legitimate way, and it's something to be really proud of when you do get to Kona. So you are I'm
So
sorry,
just shy, yeah, just shy of halfway. I was kind of bummed because for 2020 I had the full St. George,
Yep.
and I was so happy that that was going to be my halfway mark.
Wow, that would have been great. Yeah, that's too bad.
But it's even better. I'm going to start. I started my race with Coeur d'Alene, and my halfway race is going to be Coeur d'Alene. So
that is great. Well, that'll be fun. We're going to enjoy watching you, march down that path to getting that legacy spot. So, Hilary, it's so funny how this member spotlight just flies by in terms of doing.
Especially it went very fast tonight. Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Hilary,
we can't let her go without picking your brain a little bit on the for the rookies and the new people who are coming up. What kind of advice would you give them to help them get to your level?
So first and foremost, have fun. Next, make friends. That's one thing I will say. When I first did my first sprint, I trained all by myself, and I wasn't burnt out on training. I was burnt out on the fact that I was doing it by myself.
Oh, that is so poignant, so smart that you realize that.
Yes,
yeah. I'm feeling that myself.
And when you get a little bit further, and I'm sure you guys will have this conversation at a later time, take good care of your body. Doing this endurance training can really be very taxing. So make sure you talk to your doctor, your coach, your nutritionist, whoever you're using, making sure you're getting the supplements that you need. So it always continues to make you stronger and healthier.
That's fantastic advice. It really is.
Every one of those points is really good, and I really like the make friends aspect, because it is a community, and the more that we support each other, the more fun it is. It is fun to do things on your own, but at the same time, doing it with others that are like-minded people is great. Hilary, this has just been so great to talk with you. I'm so glad that we've had you on, and are
very much fun.
You a bit more, and I'm going to really enjoy cheering you on to getting that legacy spot, and we'll race Coeur d'Alene together. That'll be fun.
Perfect. Thank you guys for having me. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
All right. Have a nice evening. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us.